We are back on Good Day Extra. A report came out, said kids, more of them are quitting youth sports. In fact, about 70% actually threw in the towel by the time they were 13 years old. That report found a third of elite athletes kind of experience overtraining by the time they're adults. About 10% say they are burned out.
Licensed mental health counselor Shantala Boss joins us live to talk about it. Shantala, long time no see. Good to see you.
You as well, Danielle.
All right, so this burnout, let's talk about it. Why is it happening?
Well, a lot of times in sports and with coaches and even with parents, there's a lot of pressure on kids and on youth. And that can be helpful in some ways because it pushes them to perform, it drives them. But a lot of times, talking about feelings, emotions, expressing what's going on is kind of looked down upon. And there's a lot of reasons behind that. A lot of times, especially with boys, you know, when we're looking at sports, anger, aggression, all of that stuff that comes out can kind of drive performance and competitive vibes. The problem with that is sometimes it's looked down on if someone were to express maybe something they're going through, something they're feeling. And over time, those things build up, especially with kids who don't know how to regulate emotions. So they'll start shoving them and then they'll start feeling burnout. They can start feeling bullying by other kids. A lot of times, especially on teams, the opposing team, I've seen a lot of kids where, you know, they'll be shoved up against a locker in school by an opposing teammate. So it's very difficult sometimes for kids to regulate this or separate the sport from their personal life and learn how to express themselves appropriately without being called a weakling, a sissy, or something like that. And so really, we need to work in our environment on really having these conversations with kids, helping teammates learn how to talk to each other, and using our energies to channel that more appropriately. I think that's a lot of why kids are burning out. They're just really not talking like they should be.
Shantala, so I coached football and basketball, baseball with different, and I've been a parent, so I've seen all the sides. And I think parents and coaches both have an interesting role here because, yes, we want to encourage them, but in most cases, like when I coached Little League Baseball, 80% of them didn't go on and play in high school, and I think it's because of the pressure from parents, the pressure from coaches. And yes, we want to push them to be better, but I see in so many cases they push them to where it's not even fun anymore and they're done.
That's exactly what's happening. It's becoming so serious and so intense. And, you know, I understand a lot of parents obviously want their kids to get scholarships. They want them to go on to college. So once it hits high school, there is a lot of pressure. And this is not just a conversation with sports. This is a conversation with academics.
Sure.
This is a conversation in so many areas. And so I understand why parents and coaches feel that pressure. You know, they have scouts, people coming out to the games. So it's a consistent thing that we have to work on. But I really think really encouraging kids to talk about what it is they're feeling, to not be afraid of that, really makes a huge difference, and kind of just facilitating that on the team, because kids look down on expressing themselves as weakness a lot of times, or that they're not going to be a good player if they say, hey, I'm feeling this or I'm feeling that. But I like it, Ryan, that you're speaking from your experience, because I really think that that's so important. And in my experience working with kids, when they're able to come in and have that safe place to just talk about what's going on, maybe it's not somewhere they can talk about it on the team because it's, you know, going to get out to the other teammates or make them look bad. So having that safe place where they can express, and I see such a change in their overall performance and well-being. So sometimes maybe they can't express those things as much at school or with their teammates, but having a safe place or a person or a mentor that they can go to outside of that and really process through some of those things is really highly important for these kids, so they do avoid that burnout.
So Shantala, then what about some strategies for a kid who is talented, who does have talent, but who may need a little bit of pushing to get them over that hump? How do you balance being a parent who knows your kid has talent and knows they could do well with not pushing them too hard to the point where they say, listen, I don't want to do it at all? Because there's got to be a balance, right?
I think a lot of times when kids give up is when they hit failure, or when they maybe lose a game, or they have a tough time. So it's talking about those things. It's talking about, you know, the greatest, most successful people of our time have failed multiple times. In order to be successful, you have to fail. So you know what to fix. So having those conversations and also really focusing with them on, hey, what else am I good at? What makes me a great person, a great individual, a great friend, student? What about me do I like outside of this? Because this is not my livelihood. This is not everything. And that's tough. Even for adults, we get so engrossed in sports. For a kid, if that's something that they're really identifying them at, that's it. And if that goes away or they have a bad day, it can be the end for them. Everything is highlighted in their worlds because their brains think differently than we do. They are not fully developed. So they really need to learn, what do I love about me and what else do I bring to the table? That's a really important thing.
Mm-hmm.
Well, thank you so much. There's so many good tips and resources there that I feel like both students and kids and parents can take away from that.
Absolutely.
But thank you so much. But we're going to actually take you to another break.
Shantala, great to see you.
Yes. Good to see you, Shantala. It feels like it's been so long
Parents
since
have a
we
big role, and
seen
so do
her.
coaches.
Well, and not only that, I think what happens is she said it so clearly. If you push them too far, they just won't do it.
Right.
So there's gotta
in my
be that
experience, and I
balance.
love all the parents I've had through the years, most of them go too far.
But they want it more than their kids sometimes.
Absolutely.
And I think that's where the problem comes in, right?
We could do a whole segment on this one.
We'll
That's
be
a
right
good
back.
looking view.
Right?